why the New Orleans Saints are actually going to be good in 2024. This video was sent to me. This is from the channel Sports Beer Jokes. I mean, listen. I mean, you know, it's not easy to make a name of a channel. It's not easy to, what should our channel be named? That's a difficult conversation for a lot of creators. You know, they want it to be catchy, want it to be unique. And then some people say, you know what? Let's just put a couple of things together and see what happens. In this situation, we have 3 things put together. Sports, awesome. Beer, awesome. I like how it's not beers. Everything else is plural, except beer. Beer is just beer. And then jokes. Not bad either. So everyone likes these 3 things together. Not bad. So let's go ahead and hear what Sports Beer Jokes, unreal name, have to say about the Saints in 2024.
Today we are going to be talking about the greatest franchise in the history of sports, my favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. If you're the
Okay. This young hombre did not hide his affinity for the New Orleans Saints. This guy is a member of the Who Dat Nation. This guy right here is a fan. This guy likes the Saints. I appreciate that. I appreciate, you know, fan-made content, no doubt about it. We'll see how hard he leans into the fan side of things, how much hopium he's huffing.
kind of guy that likes watching sports, drinking beer, and joking around with your boys or girls. We don't discriminate. It's actually kind of a sausage party right now, but this is probably the place for you. So consider subscribing and joining the best sports community on this app. And in a few short months, you'll be able to brag to your friends that you were on Sports Beer Jokes before the fans. So without further ado, let's talk some Saints football.
Jesus. Okay, there's a lot happening. God bless. Okay, let's get, y'all know how I feel about the ads, the advertisements at the beginning of a video. I'm telling you, and this young man, listen, as someone who's at the top of the mountain, somebody who's number one, I think I can give some advice, to young creators. This guy's starting up this channel, getting hot, right? He's the face of the franchise is watching. It's a big moment for him, no doubt about it. So here's a little advice. Listen, we're 30 seconds into the video. Here's the harsh reality. 90% of people are already gone. 30 seconds at the beginning needs to be the hook. 30 seconds at the beginning needs to be the algorithm booster, the SEO. The SEO, YouTube's algorithm, the AI, all that stuff. They have not gleaned at all what this video is about because the first 30 seconds is all about liking and subscribing. Right? So shove the best stuff you've got in that first minute. Shove the best thing you got. If people make it past the first minute, make it past the second minute, make it past the 5-minute mark, if they watch the whole video, you don't got to ask them to like, comment, and all that stuff because they probably will do it anyways. So go all in on the content part early in the video. A little advice from me.
Baby. Now, the Saints are currently in the middle of fighting the mid allegations. Now, I definitely feel somewhat responsible for that. If you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, you know that I have not been a fan of a lot of the moves that we've made, particularly choosing to continue with Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. A lot of people, including myself, have accused the Saints of just being content with mediocrity. And honestly, it does seem that way in a lot of ways. In the 2 years under Dennis Allen, we've gone 7-10 and 9-8 and haven't made the playoffs in the easiest division in football. The Saints have desperately tried to cling on to what remains from that window when we were really good back in the late 2010s. But anybody who knows ball knows that Drew Brees and Sean Payton were the two pieces that made that system run as well as it did. Yeah. We've also lost a lot of key guys on both sides of the ball that made those teams so elite. And considering the fact that a lot of the guys who are still around are getting considerably older, this team has just been extremely mid. All good things come to an end, right? Wrong. Because this video is a Saints video, baby. So let me just drop some ball knowledge into your casual head. This is why the Saints are actually going to be a damn good football team in 2024, and why us Saints fans should be fired up about the future of our beloved franchise.
I've said this before, but the idea that we can lose the greatest quarterback in franchise history, one of the best to ever play, and we can lose the best coach in franchise history, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NFL, especially offensively. We can lose both of them in the matter of 12 months. And we have a 7-10 year, and then we immediately bounce back to a 9-8 year. The fact that that can happen and we've got people saying we're mid, or we're nothing but mediocre, or we're content with mediocrity. I think that's crazy. I think it's crazy to be like the Saints are content with mediocrity when we go 7-10 and 9-8, and what do? Fire everyone. After we go 7-10, what do? We go sign a $100 million quarterback. What have the Saints done in the last 2 years, or 3 years, I guess, going into this season? What have we done that lends any credence to us being okay with mediocrity? Every single thing we've done actually shows that we are not content with mediocrity. Because if we were content with mediocrity, Pete Carmichael will still be here. If we were content with mediocrity, Andy Dalton would probably still be the quarterback. The Saints are making moves. The Saints are attempting to get back on track. And we were off track. We were under 500 for one season. The Atlanta Falcons have been 7-10 for 4 straight seasons? They are the ones who are obsessed with mediocrity. Okay? So it's nuts that label is getting thrown around. Now, you could say the last 2 years the Saints have been mediocre. That is true. But to say that we're content with mediocrity actually couldn't be further from the truth. So that narrative is out of control.
Franchise. So let's start things off with taking a look at the roster. At quarterback, obviously, we're rocking with Carr once again. Last year, if you're just a box score watcher, you wouldn't think Carr was that bad. But if you actually, know ball and watch the games, you know that it was a lot of empty yards and garbage time touchdowns. Too many times last season would Carr march us all the way down the field into the red zone just for us to stall out or throw a pick or do some bullshit that just pissed me off. And then Carr would start yelling at one of our receivers or one of our linemen as if it's not his fucking fault that he sucks. But what I think is really important is the fact that we brought in Clint Kubiak to be our new offensive coordinator. For the past 2 seasons, our OC has been Pete Carmichael, who's the same guy from the Sean Payton era. But we all know that Sean Payton was the real offensive coordinator.
Yeah, 100%. You don't coach, you're not the offensive coordinator of one of the best teams in the NFL for 15 years without getting a single interview for a head coach, without getting a single shot to be the OC at somewhere else. Shane Steichen was the Eagles OC. They go to the Super Bowl. Boom, he's immediately the head coach of the Colts. Pete Carmichael, never got interviewed for nothing, ever.
Carmichael a chance to prove that he could do it without Peyton, and he failed us. You have failed me for the last time, Carmichael. Now, I could just go list off Clint Kubiak's history and tenure as an offensive coach, but I'm not going to do that. And the reason I'm not going to do that is because I don't bullshit you over here at Sports Beer Jokes. I don't know if this dude's going to be good. No one does. What I do know is humans. I know humans. I know people. Oftentimes in life, the best way to improve a shit situation is just to bring in fresh faces. And that's exactly what we did. And Carr's a veteran quarterback. He can figure this shit out. And it's not like he's doing it without any weapons. Chris Olave is one of the best young receivers in football. Rashid Shaheed is one of the most underrated young receivers in football. We still got Alvin Kamara, who's aging like wine. Juwan Johnson's actually a pretty damn good receiving tight end. And Taysom Hill's a Swiss Army knife. The most glaring weakness on this unit, though, is definitely the offensive line. Ryan Ramczyk, who's been an absolute stud for us since 2017, has gone through surgery this offseason, and it honestly looks like he might retire. We also had a really bad miss on Trevor Penning in the 2021 draft. Dude's just a straight up bum. He can't play.
If you would have asked me what's my favorite thing about football, just ask that.
What is your favorite thing about football?
Legally assaulting the person across from me.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But we did address this weakness in the draft by picking Talisi Fuaga. Obviously, he's a rookie, so it's impossible to know how good he actually is going to be, but hey, at least we're trying. This O-line isn't going to be great, but I think it can be serviceable. And that's kind of the story of this entire offensive unit. I don't need you to be 2019 LSU, bruh, but can you play mistake-free football? Can you finish top half of the league in terms of production? Can you capitalize on red zone opportunities? Please.
I mean, yeah, again, y'all know how I feel about videos that just list players and list all that stuff. So I was just kind of trying to get through that. We just need them to be better. That's it. We don't need to be the Dolphins. We don't need to be the Bengals. We don't need to be the Chiefs. We don't need to be any of that. Just be better. If we're just better offensively, we'll be fine. Like, that is the barometer. That's it. Like that's what we're playing with. This is not a situation where we have to have 5,000 yards out of Derek Carr. This is a situation where, look, guys, just be better. That's it. And we should believe, and I do believe, that we will be better. Why would I not? Unless Clint Kubiak is a complete failure, unless Derek Carr regresses, unless some of that stuff that I just don't see happening happens, then we will be better. And if we are better, why wouldn't I believe we can compete in the NFC South? And if we can win the NFC South, we can host a playoff game. Sounds cool to me. So that's really what we need. Just move forward. Keep going forward. That's it.
We haven't gone over our defense yet, but spoiler alert, it's pretty fucking good. If we can just play complimentary football, we can be in a really good spot. And with the weapons we have and a veteran quarterback and a new offensive coordinator, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. But let's say Carr's not getting it done. Let's say he's still not able to rally the troops, capitalize on advantageous opportunities, and lead an above-average offense. Who dat nation? We still have hope. And it comes in the form of Spencer Rattler. We spent a day...
No matter what Derek Carr does this season, Spencer Rattler will not have any impact on this season. Spencer Rattler is in a developmental cycle. He is not going to be starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints this season.
3 draft pick on him. And guys, this is a super talented player. Former 5-star. This is a guy who was in Heisman talks preseason not that long ago. Now, I get it. His college career wasn't all that spectacular. But shit happens, bro. I've heard rumors that the reason why he fell so far in the draft was because of that last chance he kind of came off like a brat. I'm not going to speak on that. I'm not an NFL GM or an NFL insider or anything like that, so I don't know shit. But what I do know is that his coaches from South Carolina praise him tremendously. So this dude was a fucking brat when he was 17. Who wasn't? He's a grown man now, and he's a damn good football player, and he probably has a chip on his shoulder. This is the first time in Spencer Rattler's career where people are doubting him.
I'll give him credit. I'll give the guy who made this video credit. This is not a Chat GPT script. I'll give him that. A lot of times with these voiceover videos, you get like a Chat GPT script, and that's it. I got a feeling that ChatGPT didn't write this one.
Carr comes out the first half of the season and shits the bed again. We should put Rattler in the game.
Not happening, and no, we shouldn't.
Who knows what?
Absolutely not. No reason to do that. That would make no sense.
Could happen. What I want my fellow Saints fans to do is look at the last 5 games of last season. We were able to win 4 out of the last 5. Now, obviously, we were beating up on some pretty shitty teams. I'm not going to act like we were out here beating any Super Bowl contenders.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do we say? What do we say here? Who are we beating up on? Anybody? I know y'all know the answer because I've asked this before. We were beating up on our division. Atlanta, Tampa, Carolina. The other team was New York, whatever. Cool. If we beat up on them, I'm all for it. And this young man said that we weren't beating up on Super Bowl contenders. Go tell CBS Sports that. Go tell ESPN that. Go tell Rich Eisen that. Because in the last week, I've heard the Buccaneers are a Super Bowl contender. I've heard the Falcons all offseason are a Super Bowl contender. So even we were beating up on bad teams. Well, a lot of people think those bad teams can win the Super Bowl. So I love it. I love the fact that we closed out strong against our own division. I love the fact that we have confidence against them going into this season. I love the fact that they're just as bad this season as they were last season. So I'm all for that.
But I do think it's important to point out the formula that we won these games with. As a unit, we kind of started to figure out the complementary football that I was talking about. We had a +7 turnover differential during that stretch of games. And if you actually watch the games, and I did, and I remember them, our offense was able to capitalize on the favorable situations our defense put them in. Now with the improvements that we've made on offense, hopefully we can carry that momentum into 2024 and do it for a whole season's worth. But let's look at this defense, shall we? It all starts with Dennis Allen. Obviously, a lot of Saints fans don't believe in him as a head coach, but you are out of your mind if you don't believe in him as a defensive coordinator. This dude knows how to coach defense. And as long as he's our head coach, we are going to have a great defense, especially considering the roster we're coming in with this year. Let's start with the big boys up front. In what could potentially be the last year of an absolutely phenomenal career, Cam Jordan is coming back, and he isn't the pass rusher he used to be, but according to Pro Football Focus, he's still a damn good run defender, a great veteran leader for the team.
Cam was also hurt last year. You have to assume he's going to be better physically, so that's a boost.
And just the kind of culture guy you want on your squad. We also got Carl Granderson, who definitely isn't nationally recognized yet, but Saints fans know who this guy is. He's pretty good. Coming off an 8.5 sack year and could potentially break out. Who knows? But perhaps the biggest move of the offseason was bringing in Chase Young on a 1-year deal. Freak athlete, former number 2 overall pick. Everybody knows the potential that this guy has to be an elite player. He just hasn't been able to string it together thus far. But he's on a 1-year prove-it deal with a defensive-minded coach and a really good defensive roster around him. This is the
Yeah, I mean, if there was anybody, I mean, a perfect situation for Chase Young, where you've got Dennis Allen to develop you. You've got players like Cam Jordan and Demario Davis around you to be mentors. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better spot for a highly talented young player on a prove-it situation trying to get better.
The year where he officially arrives as one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL. Book it. We also got Brian Bresee, who's a young player with a lot of promise. A talented and deep defensive line. Great start. Now let's move to the second level. Who are our linebackers? Demario Davis, Pete Werner, and Willie Gay. Oh my goodness. Suffocate them. Suffocate them! All over the damn field, a bunch of rogues. Atlanta Falcons, you aren't gonna know what hit you, pal. Get the damn brooms out. All 3 of these guys can go sideline to sideline. A great linebacking core. I'd argue one of the best in the NFL. Demario Davis.
I don't know about one of the best in the NFL, but definitely good. Definitely good enough.
Despite being older than Master Yoda, still somehow plays at an elite level. Pete Werner, despite coming from the soft-ass Big Ten, plays like he's from the
And Warner is in a make it or break it season in his career as well, just contract-wise and all that. So he does need it. He does need to have a performance this year.
The SEC. And now Willie Gay has swag surfed his way down all the way to the big.
I mean, Willie Gay is a superstar athlete, like no doubt about it. Everyone's raved about him. He may be. We'll see how it plays out, but he could be just as impactful, if not more impactful, than Chase Young.
Easy to complete the big 3. So the defense is batting 1,000 so far. Let's look at the secondary. And our DBs are actually the strongest position group on the team. Marshawn Lattimore is one of the
Could be top 5 in the NFL. Could be a top 5 secondary in the NFL.
Premier cornerbacks in the NFL. Paulson Adebo is not that far away from joining him in that club. And Alante Taylor is a great slot cornerback. At free safety, we got college football legend, 3-time All-Pro, Pro Football Hall of Fame's All-Decade team for the 2010s, the damn Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. And as is a theme on this team,
that was the play before the infamous Jameis Winston fake victory formation.
Despite his age, he's still playing great ball. And we lost Marcus May, but Jordan Howden should be able to fill that other safety position. But I forgot to mention one thing. Kool-Aid McKinstry, baby. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But seriously, I'm actually fired up about this draft pick. Another first-round elite talent on the back end of our defense. Another toy for Dennis Allen to play with. Pause. But we have an insanely deep group
Damn,
of
he hit the
defensive
pause.
backs. Locking that.
Damn, this man hit the pause. I'm glad to see you're watching the channel, my boy.
Shit up, baby. Top to bottom, our defense has no weaknesses. We have a great roster and a great defensive coach. We should be one of the best units in the league. So there's the roster. Obviously, the strength of the team is undoubtedly the defense. I want Saints fans to look at it this way, though. We're an above 500 team at 9-8 that improved on both sides of the ball this offseason. On offense, we got a new OC bringing in that 49ers Kyle Shanahan style of offense. We addressed our biggest weakness in the first round by picking what a lot of people believe to be a home run draft pick. We have a veteran quarterback with underrated weapons and a stellar defense. Our wide receiver room is deep, bro. I only named 2 of them, but we also have A.T. Perry, who's probably going to be our wide receiver 3. We also brought in Cedric Wilson, and in the 5th round, we drafted this dude named Bub Means, who can absolutely fly. Like I said earlier, it all depends on if we can figure out how to play that complementary style of football. We know our defense is going to give us a chance to win. Can our offense dominate time of possession, play mistake-free, and be opportunistic? That's a winning formula, boys, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to play that way. Let's look at the schedule. Now, I really hate doing this at this time of year because it's really impossible.
All right, so let's see. So we have covered the schedule multiple times. Let's see if he's going to pick each game.
Possible to know how good these teams actually are going to be. But according to my calculations, I think there are 7 guaranteed wins
Agreed. Said that last week. I agree. Yep.
For the Saints this year, assuming we sweep the Panthers and split with both the Falcons and the Bucks. And this is actually right about where Vegas has us, so I wonder how they calculate that. That leaves 10 games left, so let's decide how many of these are toss-ups versus automatic L's. The first automatic L that I immediately saw was the Chiefs at Arrowhead on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
I'm sorry, we're not winning that game. For week 2 and week 3, we got the Cowboys and the Eagles back-to-back. I think there's a scenario where we go 1-1. I also think there's a scenario where we go 0-2. But I don't think there's a scenario where we go 2-0. So I'm going to put one of these as an automatic L and the other one as a toss-up.
I would say I think we have a better chance of beating the Cowboys than we do the Eagles.
No matter which one, I think there's a chance we win either of these games. For weeks 7 and 8, we have the Broncos and the Chargers back-to-back. I can see a world where we win both of these games.
I mean, the Broncos are horrible. The Broncos might be the worst team in the NFL. We are favored. That should be a guaranteed win.
And also a world where we lose both these games. So I'm going to put both of them as toss-ups. Week 11, Browns at home. We should win that game, but knowing the Saints, I'm going to put it as a toss-up as well. Now, these 5 straight weeks.
That's wild because, we're a dog against the Browns, but we're a big favorite against the Broncos. So it's interesting that he said we should beat the Browns, but
weeks immediately following our bye week, I think we have a chance to go 5-0. I actually think we can realistically finish the regular season on a crazy win streak. The Rams and Packers are both tough games. I don't think we win both, so I'm going to do one's an L and one's a toss-up. And that just leaves the road Falcons and Bucks games, and we said we were going to split them, so to be fair, let's just mark them as L's. Even though I do think we could sweep both those teams. That leaves 5 toss-up games. Of course, it's an odd number. So let's say we go 3-2 in toss-up games. We're 10-6. If we go 2-3, we're 9-8.
10-7. Yeah, I mean,
which is right back where we started. But look, at the end of the day, none of.
Yeah, I mean that really kind of is the algorithm. Like, give or take a game here, coin flip a game there. But if we take care of business and we beat the teams we're supposed to beat, then you go 2-3 in those toss-up games. You are in contention for the NFC South. 9-8 last year. We saw what that meant in the South. 10 wins the South last year. So it sounds like we're not like world beaters. It sounds like we're not Super Bowl contenders and all that stuff when you talk about it. And we're not Super Bowl contenders, but our goal should be to win the NFC South, win the division, host a playoff game. And when you look at this schedule, it's like, well, every prediction that I can come up with puts us in that space to where we should be competing for the NFC South. That's where you want to be. So whether we win 10 games or 9 games, or we go 4-1 in those coin flip games, we win 11 games, whatever. All those scenarios is we have a chance to win the South, and as a Saints fan, like that's a good place to be.
This really matters. No one really knows how these games are going to unfold. We just did that part for fun, because come on, we're sports beer jokes. We like to have fun around here. The bottom line is, I think people are sleeping on what this team could be. I've said it ad nauseum, but I'm going to say it one more time because it's my final thesis. If this team can figure out how to play that complementary ball control style of football, we can be a damn good team. We can win 10 or 11 games and then win the easiest division in football and host a wild card game. And then at that point, it's just, can we get hot? It's single elimination. That's the beauty of the NFL. Am I a delusional Saints fan? Almost certainly. But do I love Who Dat Nation? Fucking A right I do. Sports beer jokes.
I don't think it's even that delusional to say like this team should be better, this team can be better, this team has an easy schedule, this team can be 10-win team. Like, I don't think that's that delusional. I think it's delusional to say this team's 6-11, this team's 5-12, this team is not good, this team is ass, this team is regressing, this team is bad. Like, all that stuff to me is delusional. Just like saying we're going to win 13, 14, 15 games is delusional. But somewhere in the middle there, somewhere in that 9-win, 10-win, 8-win, somewhere in that world, that's totally fine to be in there. So, I agree with some of the stuff in there. I agree that like we should be better. I agree with that we have addressed some issues. I agree that we are undervalued at certain positions. People are sleeping on the roster. They are sleeping on Tyrann Mathieu and Demario Davis and Marshawn Lattimore and Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Derek Carr. I mean, they are sleeping on those guys. And I do agree that unless you are a Saints fan, you probably don't realize how big of a deal it is that Clint Kubiak is taking over, and Clint Kubiak has his style versus what Pete Carmichael was trying to do last year. So, I'm kind of with you there. I'm kind of with you on a lot of that. Wild video. That was a wild and crazy, frenetic paced video. Hard-hitting analysis. I don't know if I'd go that far, but you know, it was something else. So, ladies and gentlemen, get on down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think? You think the Saints are going to be good? You think we're looking at 10 wins? You think we're looking at an NFC South? Let me know in the comments below. I will see you in the next video.